23 years old. The dealership lot is bigger than you expected. You park in the back corner, not sure why. Like, you're not even sure someone like you is supposed to be here. The salesman is already standing at the door. That smile is professional, not personal. Less than a minute after you sit down, they already know exactly which category you fall into. You're the only one in the room who doesn't. They walk you to the back, not the showroom. The back. The used lot, fluorescent lights, cars that look like they were left there by people who ran out of options. You sit down in the finance office. The guy across from you types into his computer. Doesn't look at. 40 seconds pass. Then he asks, calm as a flight attendant announcing a delay, "Do you have anyone who can co-sign?" You say no. He nods like he's seen this 1,000 times. Goes back to typing. Your credit score is under 580. The interest rate they offer, 24.9% APR. He reads it like he's reading the weather. The car is listed at $14,500. 60-month loan. The total amount you'll actually pay is close to $22,000. Nobody mentions that number out loud. You sign, not because you don't understand, but because you need that car to get to work on Monday morning. The dealership knows you need it. That's already priced into the deal. You walk out to the parking lot and call your roommate. You say, "They approved me." Both of you go quiet for a second. Nobody says the next part out loud. You drive off the lot. The interior smells like someone else's life. The odometer already has 50,000 miles on it. You weren't really buying a car. You were buying stress, a monthly payment that felt survivable. In the moment, it felt normal. Then you got home, and something felt off. A few years pass. You're 26, credit score 620. You know that number because you've checked it more times than you'd like to admit. This time you park closer to the entrance. There's a waiting area, water bottles. You start thinking, okay, maybe things are looking up. They are different, just not the way you think. They still walk you to the used section, but to a different part. Cleaner, better lighting. The cars here look different. No more, this is where you end up when you're out of options. This time, the guy doesn't ask if you have a cosigner. This time he asks, what kind of monthly payment are you working with? Sounds friendlier, right? But he just shifted the entire conversation from, what does this car cost, to, how much can you afford each month? Two completely different questions. You don't catch it at the time. Finance office. A sheet of numbers lands in front of you. APR, 18.4%. Car price, $21,000. 72-month loan. Monthly payment, $347. $347 a month sounds fine. $31,000 for that car does not. They know you'll look at the monthly number first. They always do. Then he slides a few more sheets across the desk. Extended warranty, paint protection, gap insurance. Not, would you like these? Which of these do you want? You notice a number that doesn't add up. You ask about it. The finance manager explains in a longer sentence. The patient voice of someone who's explained this 3 times today. You nod. Because of stress, the more you ask, the dumber you feel. And that's when you stop paying attention. Last time you knew you were vulnerable. This time you don't. You sign. Next week, a coworker asks what you got. You tell them the make, the year, the color. Nobody asks about the interest rate. Nobody ever asks about the interest rate. And honestly, at that point you didn't want them to. 29 years old. Credit score 685. 3 years at the same job. Your bank account is no longer in stress. Check your balance before buying coffee territory. This time they don't walk you to the back. This time they walk you into stress the main showroom. Better lighting, cleaner floors. Everything in here just looks more expensive. The salesperson shakes your hand, then asks, what are you currently driving? First time the conversation feels like buying a car instead of a credit check. Small thing, but you notice it. APR this time. 9.9%. An actual test drive, out on the highway. You're alone in the car for 20 minutes. First time this whole thing feels like stress. You're actually buying something. Then you're back in the finance office. The manager puts a number on the table. You look at it, just doing the math. He stands up. Let me go check with my manager real quick. You sit there, wondering what you said wrong. 2 minutes, maybe less. He comes back. My manager approved an extra $800 off if you want to move forward today. You nod, you sign, you're driving home. First red light, you start replaying it. There was no manager. You realize that at the red light, he just stepped into the hallway, checked his phone, and came back with a number that was always on the table. That $800 was probably built into the deal from the start. First time the deal felt like it tilted slightly in your direction. They just weren't pushing as hard this time. Hold on. Same dealership. Same cars. Different room, different lighting, different first question. That's not an accident. That's not just different sales styles. They're selling financing more than they're selling cars. They sort people into financial tiers, then adjust everything accordingly. The real money is in the loan. The dealership didn't change. Your credit score did. 35 years old. Credit score 735. Income around $110K a year. You paid off your last car loan 6 months early, just because you had the cash and wanted it gone. You call on Thursday. Saturday morning, you pull up. The car is already parked out front. Keys on the desk before you even sit down. The salesperson knows your name. Want to do an overnight test drive? Keep it until tomorrow morning. Nobody's ever asked you that before. You drive home, pull into the garage, turn off the engine. Sit there for a few extra minutes in the dark, for no real reason. Just because you can. The next morning you come back. Manufactured 3.9%, or a $2,500 cash rebate if you pay outright. At least this time you have stress a real choice. Then comes the trade-in. We can take care of your old car first to make it easier. Sounds like he's saving you time. You agree. A few minutes later, you've lost track of stress, which is part of the deal you're even negotiating. 2 transactions got folded into one number, and the line between them disappeared somewhere along the way. The biggest difference at level 4 isn't the lower interest rate. It's this. You know you can stand up and walk out. And they know it too. Level 1, you needed them. Level 2, you thought you needed them. Level 3, you started to wonder. Level 4, stress. Now they want to keep you more than they want to size you up. 41 years old. Credit score 782. Income around 200K. You don't check your credit score on your phone anymore, not because you don't care, because it's just not something you have to think about. On Wednesday, you send an email. Thursday morning, someone calls back. The car you asked about, we already set it aside for you. Not, we have it in stock. We set it aside for you. Sounds similar. Feels completely different. You stop by on Friday afternoon. No waiting. The account manager nods when you walk in. File already open. Car parked outside the window, clean, full tank, nose pointed toward the exit. 0.9%. Or a $3,000 cash rebate if you pay outright. The finance office takes 20 minutes. Paperwork already prepared, signature lines already flagged. First time you sign papers and don't feel anxious. On the drive home, you think about all of it. You don't feel like you won. You just feel lighter. Level 1, you left feeling like you survived something. Level 2, you left having agreed to something you didn't fully understand. Level 3, you left and figured it out on the drive home. Level 4, you left feeling okay, but a few things still nagged at you. Level 5, you leave and don't think about it again. There's a massive difference between going home and still replaying the deal in your head and forgetting about it 20 minutes later. That gap isn't just money. It's years, dozens of small decisions. Months of paying on time when you really didn't feel like it. None of it just gets easier on its own. But at least now you're not walking in there feeling like you're about to get worked. 46 years old. Net worth around 500K. Credit score 812. It's like Wi-Fi at this point. You only think about it when something goes wrong. This time you don't call the dealership. The dealership calls you. We just received an allocation of the new model, limited units. Would you like to see it before we open it up to the general list? You don't ask why they called you. You already know why. You come in on Tuesday morning. The showroom's quiet, small private room, door closed. Real coffee, in an actual mug. The person across from you is your dedicated account manager, the same person through the last 2 transactions. The one who remembered you doesn't want to be asked about the extended warranty more than once. No sales pitch. Rate negotiated directly with the lender, not from the standard rate sheet. Delivery scheduled on your timeline. They want you back next time, and they want the referrals you might send their way. 51 years old. Net worth crossed $1 million a few years ago. No dramatic moment. One day, you opened your banking app and realized it had already happened. This time there's no phone call. There's an email. Subject line, allocation confirmed. No showroom, no finance office. Documents sent wherever you designate. Car delivered on the day you choose. The technician comes to your home. The rate doesn't come from a standard sheet, or you pay cash at a discount that isn't listed publicly anywhere. The whole thing finally stops feeling like a transaction. No one is sizing you up, nothing left to prove. And the strange part? That's exactly when buying a car stops being interesting. The dealership runs the exact same playbook they always have. Same 40-second read, same computer screen, same decision made before you open your mouth. This time, the system just happens to be on your side. You just went through 7 car purchases. That first car, 60 months, 24.9% APR, might have been the stress that kept you at level 1 for 5 more years. Not because you weren't working hard, but because that monthly payment was eating exactly the slice you needed to build something else. It's not personal. Nobody hates you. 24.9% is just 24.9%. And those numbers don't care about anyone. The thing that actually decides everything is always stress, the interest rate. And that rate gets decided before you walk through the door, by choices you made years earlier, in moments that had nothing to do with buying a car. A phone bill you paid late 2 years ago. A credit card you kept maxed out at 80%. At the time, none of that seemed like a big deal. But when you finally walk onto that lot, every single one of those decisions shows up.